Good evening and welcome to another episode of My Fiber Fun. Well, you guys, I came on today, not for the Andrew story, that'll be on tomorrow. I'm just here for a few minutes to let you know I am currently finishing the blanket. Those 5 balls worked, okay? I didn't think that they would. I thought I would need 5 more, but all of a sudden, hold on, let me put my stitch marker. Well, I don't have to do that. I'll just pull this out. I'm working on the last row. Instead of doing the wide border in the black, I actually had a half a ball left after I finished it off because it was big enough. And so I had a half a ball left. And so I said I will border it with that and do 1 row of the black, which is that Noro scratchy wool, and I didn't want to have that scratch feeling. So I said I'll just do it for 1 row in the crab stitch. And for those of you who don't know, the crab stitch is actually, and I'll demonstrate it for you since I'm here, the crab stitch is nothing but the single crochet in the reverse direction. So I don't know if I'm going in the right direction. If I were doing a single crochet, I would go across like this, right? In this direction. Think of if you were doing a single crochet in the direction that you do it, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. Well, all you do is go in the opposite direction. You go backwards. And so it gives you this appearance on the back, and then you get the bumpy appearance on the front, almost like a little ruffle. And that's why they call it the crab stitch. I love this stitch for the final row of a border because it's actually a heavy stitch and it keeps your project from curling, especially if you're doing a border that's wide enough to where it would normally curl. For instance, look, this was just starting to curl. I did 3 rows of the single crochet border with the color of the blanket. So it blends right in. It's just single crochet for those last 3 rows. I had enough to go around 3 times, and I beat the yarn chicken. And remind me to tell you about my yarn chicken again. But anyway, this is what was left. So I beat him. I whooped him, okay? Because I didn't think I would have enough to get around it 3 times. I thought I was going to have to frog it at the end, but I took a chance and I won. Okay, so you can see right at the end, it had just started curling. So if I had gone around any more times, it would have begun to curl. But I'm not worried about this little curly end. And that's the only curled spot on the Afghan. The rest of it did pretty good. Every part of it, which I like. But this crab stitch, once I get to the end here, or a little bit beyond the end, that curling will leave. So I will show you this on tomorrow. But anyway, this is the stitch. Okay, so you just stick it in like you're doing a regular single crochet, pull it through 1 like a single crochet, and that's what you're doing, but you're going in the reverse direction. So I'm going backwards. And when you first do this stitch, the first time I did it, it wasn't, oops, I see I have a loop that I messed up right there. Okay. You do a lot of frogging with it too, because if you leave 1 strand untouched, it will jump out at you like that one just did for me because I wasn't paying attention. And this is one you pretty much have to watch as you're going along, because 1 false move and you're frogging. But anyway, you just go backwards. And once you get used to it, it's easy. As you can see, I'm flying right along. But when I first did this stitch, it took a while for me to get used to it going in the reverse direction. But I actually enjoy this stitch. I like the way it looks, and I like what it does for the project at the end. And this little pop of black, I think, is really gonna make the blanket shine. Although it's just a plain blanket, my ugly snuggly as I call it. And let me tell you, I should have been done with this hours ago, but guess who fell asleep? While working on the blanket, I had gotten to just gotten to the 2nd row of the border, and next thing I know, I was out, and I was totally covered in the blanket. So let me show you how big it got. I was just amazed, and guess what? I can use it horizontally. It covers me from foot to head horizontally. Now, if I go vertically with it, this is how far it covers me. And it covers me. I mean, I can wrap up in it, but not like I can with it horizontally. And I chained 135 for this blanket. But horizontally, this is how I want to snuggle. And so sitting down, it goes from foot all the way up around my neck and over my shoulders. So this is how I'm gonna use this. But let me try to, I'm gonna hold it up. Okay, so you see this is the top. Let's come up a little bit. More, 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 more. Okay, as you can see, it is big. It is huge. So this is plenty big for me. I love it. And I like the way it looks. It's just a little ugly snuggly. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should have went with the thermal stitch for it, but that's okay. The half double crochet is my favorite stitch and I am fine with it. It has a slightly textured look. I wanted it to be textured. And when I did try some textured stitches with this, I did a few swatches after I realized, okay, quit doing the whole row and just do a swatch. But anyway, I tried the Suzette stitch. I tried the grit stitch, which was the Suzette stitch reverse, because the Suzette stitch is you do a single crochet and then a double crochet in the same chain. Okay, and then reverse, you start off with the double crochet and then you do the single crochet. So it gives it a slightly different appearance, but it's still the same stitch and it's still the same texture. And then there's another stitch, I think it was called, I forgot the name of it, but it was, you do a single crochet in one stitch, double crochet in the next. So that gives it a nice texture, and it's not the Suzette stitch, but it's that same look basically, because you're doing the same type of stitch pattern, except you're going into separate loops. I tried that. That one almost won out, but it was just taking so long. It took me forever to get through that row. And so then I did a swatch of a few other stitches, and none of them really appealed. And then there was one stitch I was doing. I think it was the 2 double crochets in one stitch, skip a stitch, and then 2 double crochets like that. And that was the pattern. That was a beautiful stitch, but it was such a yarn pick, because what it did was it was going to take forever for that stitch to grow. It was going to probably take me a couple of months to finish an Afghan in that stitch, as beautiful as it was. So I said, nope, let me go with something, because I wanted something quick, easy, and fast. I told y'all I'm impatient when it comes to, if it's something I want, and I know winter is coming soon here in Michigan, and if you see light in the background, oh, we've been dark for the past few days. I have on my special sun lamp. I run it until 9:45 because during the peak summer hours, the sun shines until about 9:30, and then you go into your sunset and it gets dark at about 9:50 p.m. And so we're losing minutes by the day here. So we've had rain for the past, yesterday was sunny, but then the day before it just stormed. Today it's been rainy all day and cloudy. And so I said, okay, let me get a jump on my sun lamp. This is what I use during the winter time, because when you're in Michigan or northern climates, you can have low vitamin D. And that all ties in with MS anyway. So I go through the seasonal effective stuff. And so I bought that sun lamp last year. I think I bought it in January, and by then I was at the peak and I suffered greatly last year. And so I decided to just go on and buy that lamp, which was advertised. The reviews were excellent on it. It's called the Daylight Sun Lamp, or Daylight Lamp, and it's for people with seasonal affective disorder. So it has a higher lumen than your typical daylight lamps, but some people can get away with the smaller ones, but not me. The smaller ones, because I have one in my bedroom, it's on my alarm clock, and that thing did nothing. It makes the bird chirp sound and everything to wake you up, and then the light shines, And once it hits 20, it's kind of bright, but it wasn't bright enough to help. This one, for the time that I used it during the winter, it did help. And I had it in my bedroom, and then I brought it in the living room because I found that instead of trying to wake up to it in the morning, it was best that I use it in the evening. And then I would get a normal night's sleep, and I would wake up on my own around 10 or 11. And that's the time I wake up anyway, every day. So I brought it in the living room, so I use it in here. I keep it over in the corner on that table, and it worked fine for the months that I was able to use it. Usually I can stop using it in February, and usually from my seasonal effective, usually I can feel it right around November, right around Thanksgiving time. That's when it really hits, and then it gets worse and worse through the months of December and January. Then February, it eases up greatly, and then I go back to normal. And by March, I'm normal again. And then I don't even have to use the lamp. Usually by mid-February, when the days start getting longer again, then each day I eliminate a minute of the lamp. And that way, it helps. So it did help last winter. It seemed to have helped, but I was like, I'm getting a good early start on this because we're losing daylight now. So this is the time where I want to keep it going, and then I might avoid the seasonal effective business altogether. I have done that in the past. I've been able to avoid it in the past. If I go out of town or something like that where there's longer days. When I lived in Oklahoma, I didn't have a problem at all. Came back here, and within a week, I was half dead, okay? But anyway, I'm rambling. Okay, so, yep, just wanted to show you guys the blanket and for you to see it. And so tomorrow you will see the full finished blanket. So now is on to the next project. Of course, now I will see my cousin next week. My cousin's husband's funeral is actually going to be next Saturday, a week from today. And he died last Sunday. I was like, wait a minute. We black folks, we hold people out at least a week. Well, my mother didn't. My father died on Wednesday, and by that Saturday, we were on the mourning bench, okay? My mother was like, oh, no, we're not doing all this week and all this. We're getting ready to get this done. So that's how that went with my father. But most people will bury within a week. If a person dies, on one day, usually their funeral is like that next week to the day. Anyway, here my cousin, he will have been dead a week tomorrow, and then we have to wait until next Saturday. But she ended up, from my sister told me, she ended up changing funeral homes, and I don't know what happened. I can't remember the reason, but anyway, whatever the reason was, he was transferred to another funeral home, I think because it was closer or something like that, and they couldn't do the funeral until next Saturday because she wanted it on a Saturday. So that's the reason why. So I don't think I'm going to attend the funeral. That might be too long of a day for me with my legs and stuff. And then, I know most places like churches, because it is going to be at a church, have handicap accessibility, but you don't know how much. Will it accommodate a walker, or whatever? I have no idea. Then, as far as the fellowship, when they serve dinner afterwards, I don't know if it's going to be in a basement. That's not handicapped accessible. The thing is, you're going to be, it's going to be some stairs if you're dealing with the basement, unless their fellowship hall is on the first floor. A lot of churches are like that. But anyway, I have no idea. I guess I could ask in advance, but they're going to be doing the visitation on Friday, and that's going to be for a number of hours. So I think I'll go with my sister to the visitation, because that's probably what she's going to do anyway. She'll probably go to the visitation and not the funeral. So, and if so, I can drive and go to the visitation on Friday and then on to my cousin's after the visitation. I'd rather do that than to go sit through a funeral, and then, then you have to go to the cemetery. That's a long, that would be a long day for me. And then not knowing how things are going to be set up, I would rather do it that way. And then, you know, the bereavement of the family and stuff, then everybody's going to be there. So therefore, it's just, I'm the type, I prefer to support people anyway after the fact, you know, once it's all over with. Because I remember how I felt during the deaths of my mother, brother, father, all that. It's after the fact when people, you know, would like support, you know, once everybody's gone and on with life again, people tend to forget about you. So I'll be that type of support after the fact. But anyway, I will get there though. And I did, she texted me this morning with the funeral information, which I already had. I just didn't tell her. And I thanked her and I told her I will see you soon. So anyway, so I know she's doing okay. And my sister was there on, what day was that? They got back, my sister and my other cousin, they had already planned a trip. They went to the state of Montana. They're trying to finish off their bucket list. My sister has, their bucket list is to visit all 50 states. So my sister has 4 states to go. My cousin has 1 to go. And so they visited the states of Montana. They went to Yellowstone Park. And then they, as a side bonus, they visited the state of Idaho. So they were both, my cousin was able to knock off an extra one, and so was my sister. So my sister has 4 to go, and my cousin has 1 to go. And what state is it she hasn't visited? I forgot. I forgot what state it is. Is it Wyoming? It's one of those states. No, it wouldn't have been because, no, I can't remember. I'll ask her when I see her next week what state, you know, she has left. Anyway, so they actually, they got back on Thursday, actually Wednesday night. And so they both went to my cousin's house on Thursday. Well, Thursday was the day of my cousin's wife's birthday party. And that's what I wanted to tell you about. I did not make it to the birthday party, and I was so hurt. Oh, I was so hurt. So what happened was, I'm in the car. I'm on my way to the birthday party because earlier that day I went to my Goodwill store, and then I didn't have time to go because I needed to go to the post office to ship off some things, and I didn't have time to go there. And so after I visited the my thrift store, and so I came home. I needed to get dressed for the party and everything. I got home. So then the party started at 6 o'clock, and I left the house at about 5:45. And so the drive was going to be like 11 minutes because it's way on the other side of town. And so anyway, I get a little bit over halfway there, and all of a sudden I noticed my oil light came on. I'm like, why is my oil light coming on? I just had an oil change done on the 2nd of July. And so I kind of ignored it, but I thought, why is this oil light on? And so then it went off. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just doing something wonky. All of a sudden, it came on again. And so I said, maybe I have an oil leak. So there was a gas station there. I was like, let me pull into the gas station and go get some oil and then, you know, just put a little in there. And maybe that will solve the problem. So I did that right there at the gas station. And so I pulled on out, still on my way to the party. So I get a little ways down, maybe a half mile up the road. All of a sudden, the oil light comes on again along with the ding, 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 ding. I mean, it was loud. And then the words started flashing on my dash, you know, your column where you're looking by your mileage, your gas gauge and stuff. This light started flashing, said, stop engine immediately, oil pressure low. So it's flashed. Why am I doing this? Anyway, it was flashing that. And I was like, oh my God. So I pulled over to the left. I got in the left turn lane, pulled over. It was a side street there on the worst part of town in my city. I was like, oh Lord, I'm a dead duck. Okay. So I'm sitting there. Then the car, I noticed it was hot. It wasn't any smoke, but I noticed that my water gauge, you know, it was up there to show the temperature was high. I said, is something up with this oil change, but I don't know what it means. So I sat there for about 30 minutes, called my cousin, told her, okay, I'm stranded here, but I think I'll be able to get home. I'll call my sister, blah, 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 blah. I said, I'm not going to be able to make your party. I was a little bit over halfway there. I said, I'm so sorry because I RSVP'd and they were serving, you know, the appetizers and the dessert. So I'm quite sure she counted me in for that and paid for it. So I felt really bad, but I did call her. And so I sat there for about 30 minutes. Everything kind of went back to normal with the, you know, the car had cooled down and I was like, can't go to the party because I was like, well, I'm closer to the party because I debated, should I just go on and go because I could have gotten a ride home. Then I was like, nope, they'll tag my car. That would be a nightmare. Then I'll probably have to get towed. That's money. So I was like, let me try to get this car home. And so, because I was about 10 minutes away. So I just went, I pulled out and I'm driving real slow, just creeping, thinking that's going to help, okay? But it didn't make the ding, ding, ding sound or anything. In fact, I had gotten all the way to the street that you have to turn to that leads up to my block. So I had not even a half mile to go. I just had like I had one light to get through. And I was like, if I can make the green light, it's a straight shot. And so then my cousin happened to call back just as I was going through that light. And I told her what happened and everything. And just as I did that, and I was telling her, all of a sudden the car was like, ding, 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 ding. It started doing it again. And she heard it. She was like, what's that noise? I was like, the car telling me I need to shut the engine down because for whatever reason. She was like, are you just about home? And I was like, I'm almost there. I said, in fact, I'm turning onto my street now. So it kept dinging. It was all loud. And I just crept it home, got it in the driveway. And I was like, whoo, I made it. And so the car's down, right? So then the next morning, because I had told my sister about it later, she was like, I wonder what cost it. I said, well, I went to YouTube University and I pulled up low oil pressure. And then I pulled up what happens. How did I question it? I put, what happens if your car says low oil pressure, stop engine now? And so all these videos came up to tell you it was two reasons why that could happen. Either your oil pump has gone out or your sensors have gone out. But either way, you're not supposed to drive the car because your engine's not getting lubricated with oil and it can lock your engine up and things can get catastrophic. So I was like, ooh. So I told my sister, because my regular mechanic, he retired. So I was like, God, I have to try to find a mechanic. So my oil change place, they have a mechanic on duty. So I was like, well, let me call them. I called around to price things to find out how much, whatever the problem was, what it would cost. So once he was like, I charge $150 just to diagnose, and then whatever the problem is, you have to pay for that. I was like, bye. And so then I called my oil change place, Safeway, right on the corner, right up the street from me. And so I explained to them what happened. I said, I pulled it up on YouTube and it said it would either be the oil pump or the sensors. He said, I can tell you right now, it's the sensors. He said, had it been the oil pump, your car would have shut down on its own. He said to save it. He's like, because that would have meant you had no oil going at all in the engine. He said with the sensors, you might have enough in there to get you from where you're at back home. I said, yeah, it was enough because I did it, but it kept telling me it said to shut the engine down. And he said, where are you? And I told him my street. I was like, I'm right by you. I'm not even 5 minutes away. He said, you can make it here. He said, just come on. He's like, and then we'll check it for sure to make sure it's not the oil pump. He said, but I can guarantee you. He said 99.99% it's your sensor. He said, which is good because it's going to cost less to fix. It costs $250, okay? Ooh. So now I'm broke. But anyway, but thank goodness, I had it to get it fixed. So that's what it was. So I took it, and my sister met me up there because he said it was going to take about, the car would be there for about 5 or 6 hours. And so he said, I'll call you once it's ready. And so my sister, I called her. I was like, meet me up there. I told her, you know, what was wrong and everything. So she met me up there. She called me when she had just turned onto the side street. She was like, I'll be there in about 2 minutes. She was like, so leave out, which I did. So I beat my sister by about a minute. So I get there and park the car, and he called me. My sister took me to get my medicine from Myers. And then I did some shopping. I wanted to get a few food items and stuff. So we were both in there about an hour. So he called while I was in Myers to tell me. He said, I just wanted to verify you that it is indeed the sensor. He said, I'll be done with the car. He said, actually in the next hour, because I've already started work on it. So I was like, okay, thank you. So I told my sister. So we piddle paddled. And then, so when we left Myers, Sherry was like, well, I'll just take you on up there, and if he's not done, you know he's going to be done within the next hour. So she said you could probably just wait on him or whatever. Soon as we pulled in, he was pulling around with my car, parking it. He was like, this is perfect timing. He's like, I just finished up. So then he showed me the sensor. It was a hot mess. He said it wasn't any oil. He said, this just went out. He said, we just did your oil change. He said, nothing has leaked, so you don't have an oil leak. He said, it just wasn't going through. He said, everything is clean. He said, we checked your oil pump to make sure that was in good condition. He said, it was in excellent shape. He said, so this should solve the problem. And he gave me a warranty, and he got paid, and I drove off. So I haven't driven the car since. I just brought it home, but I didn't get that sound or anything. And he told me, if it does it again, he's like, I doubt if it will, but make sure you hold on to your receipt because that's your warranty, and he has it on there, you know, and everything. He said, definitely bring it back in if that happens. He said, but I don't think it will. And so I'm gonna drive it around. I have to go get my blood work tomorrow because I have to get monthly blood draw because of this new MS med that I'm on. So they do a CBC every month. So I was supposed to do it Friday, but I couldn't because of the car, so I'm going Monday. So that's way on the other side of town, actually right over there by where my cousin's birthday dinner was going to be. So I'll be going to do that Monday. So that's when the car will get its first major drive to where if it's going to do it, it's going to do it on the way to the thing. And then I'll just whip it right back around and go right back if something like that happens. And then what else? There's something else I have going on this week. It'll be later in then the funeral thing, but I think I'm gonna ride with my sister to that. I don't want to put the car on the highway going to Detroit, you know, for that. So I'll probably ride with my sister. So anyway, so that's what happened. So nope, I didn't make it to the party, and I still feel bad about it. I just hate I missed it, you know, because I was looking forward to it. And then had I not gone to the party, because I told my sister she's having the party, I was like, well, since you're going to my cousin's, I was like, I'll go to her place at some other time. I said, but I'm going to go on to the party. I was like, and then I'm representing both of us, and then you represent both of us at my cousin's for support. I said, let her know that I came to the birthday party and that, you know, I'll be coming by there. We might go tomorrow because I think something's happening tomorrow, Sunday. So we may end up going over there tomorrow. I don't know. If I don't come on, then that's where I'm at. But I will be on at some point tomorrow to do the Andrew story. So even if I go, it'll be after I get back or something like that. I'll let you, well, you'll find out. But anyway, let me get on off of here because, I'm on the second row of this, so I'm almost halfway through this last part, but I'm almost at the end of the second row. Good. So I'm gonna finish this off, and then I'll be showing it to you tomorrow. And I am just so happy and pleased with this, and not an inch of air is coming through the blanket either. Okay. Oh, I wanted to show y'all. Okay, I said my cousin, I will be taking her watermelon bag when I see her. That'll be going with me whenever I go to my cousin's. So that's her sister. But I said, okay, I'm gonna start this project, but I'm also gonna be starting on her blanket, but there's no rush with that. But this one will be quick. I'm going to make, if you go to Ophelia Talks on YouTube, she has a crochet tutorial to this shawl called the Reading Shawl. And I like it because it's solid. In the back, I forget how it's made. It's in the triangle shape, but instead of, it's hard to explain, but she explains it. But it's a cute shawl. I made one and I gave it to my oldest sister's niece on her mother's side when her mother passed, which was my oldest sister through her mother. It was this girl's mother. And so this was about a year ago, and I had the shawl with me. I was actually going to give it to my oldest sister because it was her sister, her other sister, who passed. But my sister wasn't there at the funeral home, but this young lady was. She was the only one there at the time when my sister and I got there. And so I had the shawl with me to give to my sister, and something just said, give it to this young lady. She lost her mother. And so I ended up giving her the shawl. And so it was that reading shawl, and that's the only one I had made. So I liked it so much, and it looked really good. The one I gave her, it looked really good on her. It was beautiful. She appreciated it, and it comforted her. So the right person got it. I'll just put it that way. Not to say that it wouldn't have comforted my older sister, but I knew I could always make her another one, you know, and we've since talked and everything. But the thing is, the girl who got it, she really needed it at that time. She needed that support. She really did. But anyway, so I'm going to make another one. But because this Kobo is a 3-weight yarn, and this is one that TLC Yarns, Tony, she, when she did the top 10 cotton yarns or something, I forget what they were. This one made, I think, Yarnicorn, if I'm not mistaken. Either it came close or it made the Yarnicorn. And so this was one of her favorite cotton yarns. But this is cotton and bamboo. It's a mixture and it's very soft. But it's a 3-weight. So I know a 3-weight is too thin for the reading shawl, but I'm going to double it and make it chunky. So I have 4, and these came from the liquidation store. This was regularly, let me see, what was the regular price on this? The regular price on this was $6.49 per ball or skein or whatever. And it's 250 yards. I did look at that. Okay, so 250 and 250 is 500. I have 8 of these. So if I double it, I have more than enough to make the reading shawl. Now, this is the denim color of this yarn. And I bought these at the liquidation store. I got them for, it was well over, I think when they had gotten to 75 or 85% off. It wasn't when they went to the 95%. That's when I got that KC cotton, when that was going on. But these were, I think I paid less than $2 a ball. Y'all remember, I got to go back to the film because I remember the day I got this and I was doing the film when I picked it up. And I got it because it was so cheap, and they had a whole bunch of the denim colored, but I only wanted like 8 of them. And then I bought 8 of this color, which is, let's see, taupe, T-A-U-P-E. So I bought 8 of the taupe. So now decisions. Do I want to make the reading shawl in taupe because that would be perfect for the fall? Or do I want to make the reading shawl in the denim color, which is also good for the fall because I wear denim in the fall. That's usually when I'm back in my jeans and stuff like that when I go out. So I'll make a decision, and then you'll see once I'm working on it. So anyway, I have 8 of these and then 8 of those. Or I might end up making 2 of them. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, even if I start on my cousin's blanket with that Noro yarn, I can work on both projects at the same time. That's no problem. But I brought it out today so I can get started with this tonight. And I'm going to see how it looks, and we'll go from there. But yeah, Ophelia Talks Crochet, and it's called the Reading Shawl. It's a beautiful shawl. She did a lookbook video of it, and then she also did the tutorial in the following video after that. Very simple, very simple. And it only took like 4 balls of the yarn that she used, which was, it wasn't chunky per se, but it was like, it was a 4-weight, but it looked kind of chunky to me. And it was beautiful on her too. But I think I wanted chunkier and a little drapier. Okay, you guys, so let me get off of here because I've been talking. I think we're at 30 minutes. So let me get off of here and I will see you guys on tomorrow. Bye-bye and have a wonderful day and may God bless you all. Bye-bye.